Welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On today's episode, Aubrey and I are going to be looking at the Separatist tag and trying to do a little bit of fun build-arounds with that. So, as always, we'll go ahead and jump into it. And as always, I'm joined by Aubrey. How we doing?
I am in is it week 2 of the holiday season? Week 2 of December? Yeah, it's week 2. That's where I am, Todd. That's where I am. I'm made it, Talia, my fiance, her birthday went very well. There was a lot of family in my house though.
Yeah.
So, hi everyone. How's your holiday going?
Yeah, no, we're knee deep in the holiday season as well. Ours starts like pretty much before Thanksgiving, and it just keeps on going from that point. But we actually did our Christmas Santa photos today. And my 13-year-old insisted that the parents were in the pictures this year. So, yay, I got to get pictures with Santa too for the first time since I was a kid.
Isn't that fun,
Oh,
Todd?
it was great. But like my wife got me a Darth Santa shirt to wear in the picture, so that was cool. And then she wore a Baby Yoda Christmas shirt. So we were on theme for the nerd house that we are.
So what I'm hearing is she's still a keeper.
Yeah, she's still a keeper, definitely.
Got it.
So have you had a chance to get any
Nice.
games in?
I was just thinking about that, and I realized the last game I played was that one with my stepson. So no, I have not gotten any games in, everybody. I've been doing some theory crafting though. I'm trying to figure out what I would want to play with Mother Maul as a full Premier Showdown list, because I want to get some practice in, because I've been trying out a lot of Galactic Republic to see what works with the new Death Donut, and spoilers, Galactic Republic is still tough, or at least for me. I know people are having some success, so I'm going back to Mother Maul, and I'm just trying to figure out. So like I have basically 3 of the squads where I want them to be, but I'm still working on that last one. So been doing some mental Shatterpoint. How about that?
And I think that's kind of like where a lot of people are. Like, it's funny listening to like different voices in the community and how so many people are not into the Premier Showdown, just game state and play, because of the fact that it's so difficult to come up with 4 good lists. Because really, like, especially when you're looking at your secondaries, if you're only like secondaries, it's you got Django, you got OB2, and then it kind of falls off from there. And I think so. It's like you have to sit there and not play the best thing to play. And I think that so a lot of people are kind of against playing the Premier list because of that. I think as more units come out and it's easier to build 4 solid squads that like can work together, it'll probably change a little bit. But right now I think that like the community as a whole seems to not enjoy the Premier format, which is funny because I think within our local community, everyone seems to love the Premier format.
Yeah, there seems to be some back and forth. If you listen to some of the other content creators, like it seems like depending on the region that you're in, everybody's really into Premier Showdown, or they're really not. And
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that come back and forth, because I think I like the Premier Showdown format. I think it's a cool format. It lets you play with more of your models, like because hey, I'm fully on the dark side now. Mother Maul is probably my favorite squads. Rogue support, you win. It's okay. We're all just hanging out with Mama T. But I like the fact that you're forced by the game state to step outside your comfort level. Like, and you learn more units, you learn more models. And to clarify what the thing that I'm trying to figure out, because at first I was approaching this from, well, I'm going to play Mother and Maul 2 of my 3 rounds, and the third squad will just kind of sub that in unless I specifically get into a scenario where I think they're good against my opponent. But now I'm trying to do the anchor list, where like I'm going to want to play with my Mother Talzin list every round, and then swap in a different squad each time. So that's the puzzle that I'm having trouble with, because I like playing Mother Talzin and Maul all day long, throwing all the Dathomirians. They're great. I like that list. but that doesn't help me when I suddenly have to round two either completely switch to people I haven't been playing with as much, or swap them in and out and get the flow. So, and I haven't done an anchor list like that where you swap one squad in each round, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be how I'm testing myself whenever I get to the next premier tournament. I want to make a Mother Talzin that I can swap each round in a second squad.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think mom's just good on her own, so I think like, and if you just find another squads that are good on their own, like you could probably throw Vader in there, Maul in there, and whoever your next flavor is, if it's a Saj or somebody like that. I mean, just to whoever you want to throw in there. So I think there's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
some options for sure.
Yeah, but I don't want to go too deep in that conversation. I know that's not why we're here today.
No, that's
We
fine.
could do a whole episode. We could all do a whole episode just about what I should play with Mother Talzin and Maul. And maybe if I don't come up with any ideas after this, everybody, I'll let y'all weigh in on it.
Sounds like a plan to me. All right, yeah. So let's overall. I mean, so basically, what we were going to do is just take a look, kind of like what we did last 3 weeks, which only was really one episode. So,
Whoa.
so
We're back, everybody. We're back. I promise it's recording. We double checked.
yeah, triple check. So basically, what we're going to be doing this time is taking a look at Separatist, kind of make a core, a good list out of the core, trying to be as competitive as possible, and then have fun with our lore lists and everything like that. Because I know how much you love to just go have story time with Aubrey, and I think that's we're going to end up getting that again. So yeah, we'll definitely take a look. Basically, though, looking at if we're sticking with just the Separatist tag, which for this purpose we're going to, for the lore ones, we're going to be a little more lenient on it, so we can include people that maybe in the lore have worked with the Separatist Alliance or something along those lines. So we're gonna be a little more lenient on that just to have fun with it. But overall, looking at the primaries for the Separatist Alliance, there's really only three that have that tag in the game right now. That's Dooku, that's Grievous, and that's Asajj Ventress. And if you look at like the Longshanks data, Grievous and Dooku both are sitting at 53%, and Asajj is way down at the bottom at 46%. She just does not have a good win rate. I mean, so that's kind of like a good place to start there, I guess, is looking at the primaries that we're going to be running. And I mean, overall, like I said, I mean, I think Asajj just kind of falls victim to not being like it's a very attrition based format right now, unless you're running mom. So it's either you're running mom or you're running attrition, and Asajj doesn't do either one of those very well. Is the problem? Like the control mom list or the attrition side of things.
Yeah, I would add that even if you have Dooku's refresh with Asajj, she just uses too much force. Her single activation, you can use 4 force easily. If things don't go well with her dice, or even just to get her in position, cool. 2/3 of your force, on average, is now gone.
Yeah,
It's just hard. Like, not saying that she's bad, it's that what she gives you costs so much.
yeah. No, I mean, like her Dathomir and Dexterity costs 1 force. You can use it twice. And unfortunately, if you look at like her stance tree, you need to get, what is it, 4 downer tree in order to sit there and be able to get the force push for free. And I would say the majority, I played her a lot when the game first came out, and it was probably about a 25% chance, I would say, that I usually got about four times, or 4 downer tree in order to get that force push for free. And you really want it because it's a really amazing effect. So you just never could really get that to go off as on the free side of the with your stance card. So it was really kind of awful there, how she could be really good, but you really needed the dice to be in your favor with her.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like we're going with Dooku and Grievous for our competitive list, right?
I would say so. I mean, Dooku, Grievous are probably like they're the two best. I mean, so if that's where you're going to be going, if you're going to be starting there, or you just want to start with the two best that are out there. I mean, like I said, the pool overall is pretty limited if we're going to go with just the Separatist tags for this particular exercise.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, now that we have nixed Asajj, where do we want to start? You want to start with Dooku or you want to start with Grievous?
Well, let's start with Dooku. So I mean, with Dooku, we do have four total prime or four units that we can go with for supporting unit or for secondary units. There's the super tactical droids of Kalani and Kraken. Under Dooku, you're pretty much not going to be taking Kalani, so he's already nixed. But you got Kraken, you got Savage Opress, and you have Django. I mean, if you're looking for the most competitive, there's a couple different ways that you can really go with that. I mean, do you want to go with leaning it like into the droid synergies all the way, or do you just want to take, the best secondary of the game?
I mean, if we're talking fully competitive and we're restricting ourselves to Dooku and Grievous,
Mm-hmm.
because I think there's an argument for another list that takes both of the battle droids, but unfortunately, that primary is not technically a member of the Separatist Alliance.
Yeah.
So I think in this case, because of our restrictions here, you pretty much are just taking the Dooku box, right? You're taking Django, and then if you're taking Django, you're taking Magna Guards, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
don't I
can
don't
points wise, you can take the B1s if you really wanted to, but I don't. I mean, again, the Magna Guards are probably arguably the best supporting unit in the game. I mean, their tree. I mean, just there's so much that's amazing about them. I mean, looking at their stance card, having one crit on one, two crits on 2 to 3, and 4+ on your expertise chart, getting 3 crits. I mean, this crit, double crit, triple crit. It's their
Oh my
expertise
God,
chart. It's out of
that
control.
expertise chart is just it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
It's,
1, 2, 3,
you're right.
all the way down. It makes me so happy.
And 6 dice at
Except it
melee.
doesn't because it's a Magna Guard. It's just because when you chop their heads off, they still run around like chickens.
Right. I mean, and having two pushes like on their first two, just push. I mean, so even if you have someone that's steadfast, you can, as long as you get 2 successes, you're going two down the tree and you're getting one push. So yeah, no, they're just overall amazing. So that's yeah. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with that Count Dooku box at all. It's just everything in it is great. Dooku's great, Django's great, Magna Guard's great. It's just great. So yeah, you can't go wrong there.
All right, but we got some debates here for the other one because I think it's fun. Who are we bringing with General Grievous?
So
Because there's pretty much two routes you could go here,
there are
unless you want to get cheeky.
you could yeah. I mean, but so my thing is like. I mean, I love Kalani. Always love Kalani. And you could go Kalani, which forces you into the B1s. And Kalani can then basically move your Magna Guards, can move your B1s forward. I mean, and on top of it, and then you're getting the other activations out of Dooku and out of Grievous to sit there and move them forward, the Magnas forward too. So getting just, it'll help you get your Magna Guards just way up the field if you really need to because they can't do any range attacks. The B1s are solid. So, I mean, there's that. Do you want to go Killy with Savage Opress and then you can take your B1 or your B2s? I mean, you could also take, Kraken in there to get some of the movement out of there. And that's a global movement. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to go, I think. And I don't think Savage is the best way to go, in all honesty. I think you really are going with one of these super tactical droids.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I like Savage. I probably like Savage more than I should, but that's probably from playing him a lot in my games with his fellow Dathomirians, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's worlds like if you put him with Vader, he's very strong, but we're not talking about Vader right now. So yeah, it's definitely one of the tactical droids.
Yeah.
And having played more games with Separatists recently, I think you probably want Kalani and the B1s.
Yeah.
Because like it's weird because Kraken is good, the B2s are good. I'm not saying they're bad, but I think in terms of like list consistency, and I think consistency is an important part of a competitive list.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kalani and the B1s are just more consistent, even if the power level of the B1s is a little bit lower than the B2s.
Fair enough. No, that's definitely fair. I mean, and I just like Kalani one, you get his Roger Roger tactical ability, allowing everyone to all their supporting units to move as long as they're within range 4 is amazing. His target concentrate all firepower, like that extra Kalani dice, is just awesome too. You know, so I
Yeah.
mean, you add that in, and I think Kalani just is the winner overall for this. But then also looking at the B2s, are the B1s. You know, the B1s, I think people forget a lot when it comes to them. So I mean, they have protection as long as they're contesting an active objective. And on the Death Donut, that means that you can move them right onto that one of those back points where they can be shooting, and shooting into a side point or something like that because they do have range 5 on their ranged attack. So you can put them up there, and then they have protection so they're not getting hurt. And the combat AI protocols, I think a lot of people forget about that so frequently with that being able to give a character strain. I think that's just a one of those things that people forget about with the B1s.
Forget the strain. They also can give expose.
Oh, that's
I
yeah,
was
or
having a
exposed, right? Yep.
I was having a really rough time. I mean, my dice were well, actually, it wasn't even both my dice and my stepson's dice were on fire. His was just were more on fire than mine. Uh, but that being able to give out the expose, as long as you keep the B1s together, I really think I was underrating that when I was playing with him earlier because watching him in action in more recent games, yeah, you keep him on the back point, you throw out some expose or strain if you need to. I mean, I like options and I basically when I first looked at Separatists, I was like, oh no, the B2s they look better. They have shoves. They do some direct damage. They seem very more attrition focused. But excuse me, everybody. Uh, but I think the B1s are more versatile, and I think that's what you want in a competitive list.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and they also, I mean, the B1s are rolling 7 dice compared to the 6 that the B2s are rolling. So granted, they can add extra dice with saturation fire at the B2, so I mean, you can get a lot more dicey with them and everything along those lines. But like I said, I still think, like you said, there's a little bit more versatility to the B1s with being able to put those conditions, and I think conditions are very important when it comes to this game, and I think that's something that being able to put conditions on players, whether it's strain or expose, or even just pinning someone. All of the conditions just are very very good in this game, and that's something that I think it comes important with having them in there. So yeah, I like this list of basically the Django box, or I'm sorry, the Dooku box with Dooku, Django, Magna Guard. It's the Django box.
Tell,
Let's be
tell
fair.
me which character is the best character in the game without telling me which character is the best character in the game, huh?
But yeah, the Dooku box with Dooku, Django, Magna, and then going with Grievous, Kalani, and the B1s would probably be the list is where we kind of settled at. So I think that's a fun list to sit there and just kind of play with.
Yeah, yep. I think that's good. I think you won't be embarrassed if you are bringing that to an event, and if you are still in that mindset of I need my teams to make sense from a faction standpoint or a lore standpoint or a synergy standpoint. I don't know, however you want to think of it. I believe this is probably your best separatist list, at least until they give us droidicas and commando droids. I'm looking at you, AMG. I know what's missing. I need more separatist stuff. Once you're done with rebels, come back to the Clone Wars, okay?
Oh, I'm
I
sure they'll
need
get
I
around
need
there.
my droidicas. Yeah,
But yeah, no,
come on.
and it's that, like I said, like you were kind of alluding to though. That's if you feel the necessary need to stick to this one particular tag, which isn't something that you absolutely have to do in making lists. And I think if you're trying to go like the most competitive way possible, that's probably not the smartest thing to do by any means. It's just to hamstring yourself into staying in one specific tag and not moving out of it. I think you're really going to be hurting yourself by doing that because the game's not designed that way. That's the game was designed based off of the eras, not necessarily by the tags. So that's
Right, right. And I know Rogue Support was talking about this a little bit, I think, in their last episode, and then we were talking about it on Discord a lot, and then I did bring it up a little bit last week in our Galactic Republic episode. But what we're about to do, this is going to be more of those what if scenarios. This is where, hey, remember that weird episode where Asajj Ventress is now a bounty hunter and has left the Separatist Alliance, and then Obi-Wan shows up investigating something, and he's all suspicious of her, but now she's just a bounty hunter, but then the two of them start investigating together. Like, come on, people, did you see that episode? That is where Shatterpoint lives,
Yeah.
is these weird one-off scenarios.
Exactly. And it's, I mean, it's, again, it's just, this is it definitely is the what if of, the equivalent of the Marvel what ifs to, this is just, the Shatterpoint is what that's supposed to be. At least that's how I enjoy playing it. And I mean, you're there to have fun with the game. And if you're, I mean, for some people, it might be that having that very specific tag list is the most fun way for them to play. And if that's you, by all means play that way. But I don't think you're going to have the most competitive list that way. But if you're just playing kitchen table Shatterpoint, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun. If you need Obi and Annie to have the 501st and Captain Rex and the 212th and Commander Cody, because by Baby Yoda, that's what you should be playing with if you're playing Anakin and Obi-Wan. Have fun. Just don't be surprised if it doesn't work out the way it did in Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Although it didn't work out in Revenge of the Sith, the more I think about it. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you just got to go with your gut and just go a different way sometimes. But yeah, all right. So I know you are excited for story time with Aubrey. So let's go ahead and jump into this. This will be fun because this is like the first time that we recorded the Galactic Republic tag episode where I didn't know what you were going to be talking about. So I have no idea where you're going with this. So let's see what we got from Aubrey today.
All right. All right. So everybody, this was hard. There are only 10 Separatist Alliance units in the game. So, and I've already given you the best list. And I mean, what are we gonna do? Switch out Asajj? No. That's not the good story. So, my basis for the team that I'm going to give you is the Son of Dathomir Darth Maul limited series comic books. I got some more comic books for you, Todd.
All right.
So and I know some of the other podcasts have talked about this story in the past, but it's been a while. So for those of you who don't remember, uh, there was supposed to be more to Darth Maul's story, but of course Clone Wars ended when it did, and some of those episodes didn't make it out. So this comic book series was actually based on the unfinished scripts of those episodes of Clone Wars, and they just did it in comic book form instead, and it is wild. It kicks off with Maul is captured by the Separatists, because this is supposed to be set, I believe, before that final season. Like it's somewhere in between the first 6 seasons and then the final season that we came out with, season 7. So it's supposed to be somewhere in between those events. So Maul's been captured by the Separatists, but the Mandalorians that were on his side break him out. And he decides that he is going to go try and find Mother Talzin and take revenge on Sidious for everything that he's done. But of course, he doesn't realize the Mother Talzin is dead because he's been imprisoned by the Separatists for this time period. And so, but she does some ghost witchy magic thing, and she's like, look, if you capture Dooku, we can perform a ritual and bring me back to life. So he goes after Dooku hard. And General Grievous and Dooku are both fighting. Like, one's in space, one's on the ground. But it ends up being this trap laid by Maul. Maul manages to capture both Grievous and Dooku. Maul could have saved the galaxy, everyone. He had them both in his hands, but instead of killing them, he imprisons Grievous down in the bowels of his ship, and he tries to convince Dooku to join forces with him and overthrow Sidious instead. But the Republic of course, finds out about this because Palpatine knows what's going on. And so Palpatine manipulates Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, uh, not Shakti, Alia Secura. That's right, Alia Secura and Master Tipley, the one that looks kind of like a fish a little bit. They like a seahorse. In case you're wondering, you don't remember who Master Tipley is. So they show up, and so while Maul is trying to convince Dooku to switch sides, the Republic attacks, and Maul's like, "Well, you want to kill some Jedi with me?" And that's what they do. Master Tipley gets murdered in horrific fashion by Dooku. All this stuff goes down, and then some more stuff happens with Mother T. But I'm not going to keep telling you that story because if you want to know the end of the story and what happens with Mother Talzin and all of that, you got to get to the end of the story. What I'm focused on is Dooku and Maul team up. All right? Yeah. Here we go. So, what I think would be a super fun list is it because in this battle, basically the tactical droids are getting used by Dooku and Grievous all through this fight. So you've got that whole plan, and then you've got like the Magna droids get like brutally taken out by some Mandalorians. It's a great story. So this is what I'm thinking for my list, Todd. So we've got Dooku and we've got Maul. All right.
Okay.
And then I want to run all the battle droids because at one point all the battle droids were fighting the Mandalorians, and then they get shut down, and then the Mandalorians destroy them, but then the Republic shows up, so then Maul and Dooku have to reactivate the battle droids as a whole thing. So
Okay.
the inspiration is we're gonna have Kraken and the B1s on Dooku's side, and then Maul gets Kalani and the Magna Guards. Actually, I don't really care. You could swap it however you want. But the idea is this list is going to run maximum battle droids for shenanigans, because that's what happens in the fight. And then Dooku and Maul, right? Those numbers all add up.
They
4,
do.
3, 5, 3. Yeah, perfect. All right, got it. There you go. And then we're just going to reenact the devastation of the Republic. Like, this battle is so convoluted and crazy that the Jedi are trying to figure out, wait, is Dooku the Sith Lord all this time and Maul was his apprentice? And wait a minute, our first intel was that Dooku and Maul were fighting each other and now they've teamed up? What's going on? Like Obi-Wan and Mace Windu just spend this whole story being confused the whole time. With Palpatine is like, yeah, sure, that's what's going on. You found the other Sith Lord. and then he of course shows up. He's the one who ends up fighting Mother Talzin. That's a whole separate part of the story. But I don't know. So here we go. That's my lore story. Not it's still Separatist Alliance basically, but I'm giving you a nice story to go along with your squad this time. There's a reason Maul and Dooku. If you've ever wanted Maul and Dooku to be in a room and team up and fight some people, I got you.
There you go. I like it. I mean, like you said, like when it comes to the Separatists, I think you kind of just have to. There's only so far you can go with the Separatists and everything like that. So I think that's kind of like, unfortunately, the kind of the way that you have to go with all of this. But yeah, so mine would be a little different. So for me, and I am going to start with Count Dooku, but this is when Dooku had this whole scheme going on to sit there and assassinate the Palpatine on Naboo at the Festival of Lights. So, I mean, do you remember the storyline? It like Obi-Wan ended up joining becoming going undercover, so to speak, as I forget the name of the bounty hunter, but as a bounty hunter, he staged his own death in front of Anakin, and then he went into the jail, gets broken out with Cad Bane, and ends up basically going through this whole plot to sit there and try and assassinate, like becoming a bounty hunter that's part of the plot to assassinate Palpatine.
Yeah. I remember. Okay.
So
Okay.
they go
All
through the
right. Here we
whole.
go.
They go into the box, and the box is where they basically like proved whether they could be on the squad that was going to be on this assassination team, and it was overseen by the one and only Count Dooku. And
Yeah,
after,
it's it's Squid Games, Dooku edition.
yeah, Squid, exactly. So, and ultimately, like, who comes out of it, and who does he decide that's going to lead the on the ground assassination attempt of the Emperor Palpatine? No other than the greatest assassin in the entire universe of Star Wars. It is Cad Bane. So those are going to be my two
Ooh, all right.
primaries: is
All
the
right.
Cad Bane and Count Dooku. So since we're using mostly bounty hunters, and it was all the bounty hunters' plot to go ahead and take over and assassinate, you have to have Django go along with. Now, granted, at this point in time, Django was dead, but we're going to resurrect Django, so it's going to be zombie Django at this point in time. That's going to go ahead and
I
be
mean, just make another clone. It's all right. It's
exactly.
okay.
I mean, it was Dooku that made the clones anyway. He was there from the start. It was his whole thing. So yeah, he just made another Django, and he's like, "This is my Django now." So he's gonna have a Django, and again, he's a bounty hunter too. So I mean, it makes sense to have just be surrounded by bounty hunters. And you know what? He didn't have her with him, but I think Aura Singh would probably be great there. To go along with him, and just have Aura Singh just ready to sit there, and she's going to be the sniper that's going to take out Palpatine at this point in time, because she's just an amazing shooter. So those are going to be the supporting units that we have. Now, Count Dooku doesn't want to sit there and just leave himself out in the open all by himself. He's going to have his faithful Magna Guard next to him to sit there and protect him in case this all goes sideways. He needs to have the Magna Guard there for sure to make sure that he's being taken care of and he is completely safe at all times. That's what a good Sith Lord does. And of course, I mean, since we're just gonna have all the bounty hunters here, we might as well just finish it out with the other bounty hunters, because they're gonna be the ones on the ground kidnapping and trying to assassinate Palpatine. But that would be my fun list.
All right, I like it. I thought for a second you were gonna put Obi-Wan out of hiding instead
I
of
was so
Aura
close. I
Singh,
was so
just
close
to
to.
just to keep the flavor going. But all right, respect. We got to make these lists a little good. Although I'd argue anytime you put Django and Obi-2 together, you're probably doing just fine. It's all right. It's all right. But
Yeah, I was on
I
the fence
like
about
it. I
that.
like it.
I was on the fence about that one. I think Obi-2 would make sense even in the theme of it. I mean, it's like it's a undercover Obi, so you can sit there and say, yeah, he was just like an old man hermit guy, but he really wasn't.
Oh, we should get a spy Obi-Wan. Oh, there's too much time. There's too many versions of these characters we can make, and so many places we could
Well,
go.
I mean, it's not out of the question. I mean, we're going to have three different Anakins once we hit January, because they have announced that the end of January, basically right after LVO, is when we're going to be getting the actual Vader box and the Luke box, which I'm pretty excited for, to get some new models. Maybe it'll
Yeah.
bring a new life, and we're going to start getting a lot of new models again coming into the game. So I think that's going to hopefully bring a little bit more life into the game and maybe shake up the meta a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think Vader and Luke. Although it's funny that it feels like Vader and Luke teaming up is maybe the best thing you could be doing once those boxes come out. But either way, I think we're gonna have some fun. I'm looking forward to rolling up Luke. That's for sure. And I wasn't sure if I was at first, but no, I'm ready now. I'm ready.
I think most people are kind of ready just for Bar 2 D2 though. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's really where it's at, is having Bar 2 D2 just rolling around, just tasering people with his freaking little taser. D2, yeah, I love it.
Yes. I am ready for that. I'm ready for R2 to bring me some drinks at the very least.
Definitely.
Oh, because it
Yeah,
will be after the holidays.
for sure. No, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's kind of nice that it's going to be coming out after LVO, so I don't have to worry about getting it all painted up in time to do the after hours of stuff that's going on at LVO. Because I have a feeling I'm going to be playing a lot of games anyway. Because I'm primarily going up there for Marvel Crisis Protocol, because there isn't a Shatterpoint thing really going on except for that after hours stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be kind of a it'll be fun to sit there and do that. I know you're not going to be able to go up to LVO, but I know we are talking about going to Adepticon, so that'll be. I know, granted, that's not for another 3-4 months now. Yeah,
Yeah. So
close to the end of
4 months
March.
away. Yeah, I might go. I'm gonna see how I'm feeling this week because it's been a long week. But I'm thinking I might go to the tournament that's gonna be happening next Saturday here locally. So that'll be over in Maricopa. The only reason I'm thinking about it is because it's such a drive. I'm like, oh, can I make it? I think I'll be all right.
It's not too bad. I mean, if you take there's a back road around, it's not too bad to get there. So it's a little bit of a drive. I mean, but we're in Phoenix. I mean, the greater Phoenix area. I mean, it's if it takes just about an hour to get from one side of the town, hour and a half to get from one side of the town to the other. So it's for us driving an hour really isn't that crazy. I mean, but and we have so
Oh,
many stores here anyway, so it's like we're used to that.
oh yeah, no. Town I grew up in Nevada. Grocery shopping was a 45-minute drive. Like you had to go to the next town over unless you wanted to pay double for your groceries. So, yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's I'm looking forward to. I'm looking. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to that. I mean, I think I still have a bad taste in my mouth after last week because I was supposed to go to that tournament or one of the stores, and like the TO ended up being sick and not even showing up, and no one told us about it until we were actually there. So, and there was only two of us that showed up anyway. It was me and one other person. So we ended up just playing a game. He played. It was against Matt, and he ended up playing a Vader Grand Inquisitor list against, and I ended up playing
Oh,
Mother Maul. So he played, and it was, I think he had Obi 2 and I know he had Django, and that game, like his Django just was not very good for him. I mean, like Django just underperformed a lot in that game, but it was a fun game. I mean, I ended up he won the first struggle and like pretty convincingly, and then in struggle 2 I thought he was just gonna like 2-0 me pretty easily, and I was able to just kind of turn it around, especially with mom really just did work in that game. She's insane, like just being able to move on to a point or like when someone attacks, like she stopped Django from flipping a point one time. She ended up like and just
yeah.
murdering people when they needed to be murdered when they were like at the end of like their rope, or just she's just such a versatile piece that it's just unbelievable.
Oh
But
yeah.
I
Oh
don't need
yeah.
to convince you of
I'm
that.
very much. Yeah, I'm very much sold. My new headcanon, everybody, is Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan didn't find Yoda, and Mother Talzin figured out a way to resurrect herself again, and Obi-Wan finds his way to Dathomir because that's the only other like stronghold of Force users that he knows about, and this is my whole like now the Dathomirians and Obi-Wan are gonna go overthrow Emperor Palpatine. That's it. That's what I got in my head. And you know what? Darth Maul has to listen to his mama, and his mama says no killing Obi-Wan.
Right,
How about
exactly.
that?
But no, I mean,
No, no, no. Oh, you get revenge later.
right. Dathomir overall, they're just a great like there's so much force that comes out of that. They're just like granted it's dark force energy, but either way, there's a lot of force energy that comes just from that planet with like all of the different force users, the witches and all of them. They're just it's just amazing. So, and let's not
Oh,
even
I
get
almost
into
forgot. I
uh-oh.
almost forgot everybody. So Dathomirian lore. I'm going back and I'm rereading some of the old Legends novels, and I'm rereading Courtship of Princess Leia. I haven't gotten to Dathomir yet. I'm still in the early chapters. But Todd, oh Todd, little baby Aubrey did not remember the quality of writing from this era of Star Wars. Oh, this thing reads like a bad romance novel. Like Leia sees some hot guy with his shirt off who's offering her all the planets in the Happen star cluster, and she just becomes this like puddle of gooey emotional like nonsense, and I'm like, wait a minute,
That is
this is
not
Leia
Leia.
freaking like this is Leia freaking Organa. Like I can understand her entertaining the idea of marrying this guy for a political alliance. Like that's Leia. Leia like being like, well, maybe I should, but no, this dude like gives her some presents, and he's this like sexy happened star man, and she's like, oh, I don't care about Han anymore, let me go with this guy instead. And I'm like, who is this is not Leia. So I'll let you know how the rest of the Dathomirian lore goes. But everybody, I know there's this big debate about Legends versus canon. I challenge you to go back and read some of your Legends books. They might not be as good as you remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Stackpole and Timothy Zahn. They had some really good books, but there's some other authors out there that it wasn't that great. But yeah, no, and it's like, yeah, so it can be pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, it's like once you get outside of some of the big authors, like I said, like outside of Stackpole, outside of Timothy Zahn, some of those authors, it's like, okay, you signed on to do a Star Wars book, but did you really know what you were writing about?
Well, Han kidnaps Leia, takes her against her will to Dathomir. And I don't mean like, oh, he tricked her and brought her on the Falcon and then he flew off. No, they have this insane plot device, this gun of command that the Happens have. If you shoot somebody with it, it's like you stun them, except instead they just immediately become suggestible to anything you tell them to do. Han takes the gun and shoots Leia and then orders her onto the Falcon. I'm like, how did they get married after this? Like, it is just full-on romance novel, corny plot devices, and I'm just like, oh, no. It's so bad. He has to talk to her anyway on the Falcon and convince her to actually go along with his idea anyway. Why didn't he just do that in her apartment instead of shooting her?
Because every guy wants to shoot his wife with a stun gun. I mean, come on. Listen to me.
God, we're being recorded. Don't say that. Sorry, I forgot. That was the other thing I wanted to make sure I talked about while it was fresh in my head. More lore from Aubrey.
That's I saw you on our Discord talking about that too. I found it funny that you were just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But no, I remember though, like all those books came out and reading those, there were some pretty bad ones, and there were some great ones, but there were some pretty bad ones for sure.
I guess teenage Aubrey was a little too fixated on the beautiful women of Dathomir at the time. I do not remember the first half of this plot. I was just like, when are we getting to Dathomir? Can we get on the planet already?
You just completely forgot about everything else.
Weird. Yep.
That's fantastic. I love it. All right, well, I guess this is a good point for us to just end the conversation for the week with Aubrey's steamy romance novels from the Star Wars universe. Got it. So,
hey, George Lucas said he had never done a love story, but come on, George. You had Courtship of Princess Leia right there. You could have just made that instead of Attack of the Clones. Come on.
I don't think that would have been any better.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Oh.
Fantastic. Well, on that note, I do again want to thank everybody that has tuned in and listened to us babble about the romance novels of the Star Wars universe. And thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to support us, the best way to do so is to leave a review on whichever podcast platform you choose to listen to us on. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, you can just go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. But once again, thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.